You've seen them all, you've tried them all. 10 tips to stop procrastinating. 15 secrets to waking up early. The 5 a.m. Club. We've tried everything, only to end up right back where we started. What if I told you that 99% of these hacks are just painkillers? That they're only treating the symptoms while the real disease continues to corrode your time and energy from the inside out? What if today we stop putting a bandage on a wound and go straight into major surgery? In the next 15 minutes, we're not going to talk about hacks. We're going to talk about an operating system. A 2,000-year-old mental model used by the elite to achieve true effectiveness, the same way the top 20% control 80% of the world's wealth. The lower class calls it unfair, but for them it's what they deserve. First, we will expose the lie of productivity. Then we will unlock the 3 immutable Stoic laws. And finally, you will learn how to build your day with intention, not just fill it with busyness, day after day, month after month, year after year, only to end in devastating failure. So, where does this major surgery begin? It starts by acknowledging an uncomfortable truth. Most modern productivity systems fail, not because you lack discipline, but because they are built on a flawed foundation. A great lie. That lie is this: productivity means doing more. More tasks, more hours, more hustle. We are taught that to succeed, you must fill every gap in your schedule, answer emails at midnight, and hustle relentlessly. But this is the disease. This cult of more has created a vicious cycle of burnout. Think about it. You work more, you get tired. When you're tired, you lose focus and make more mistakes. When you make mistakes, you feel guilty and anxious. And to compensate for that guilt, you try to work even more. You see it, don't you? You are not on a path to success. You are on a hamster wheel, a wheel lubricated by your own exhaustion. Let's be honest and look at your to-do list right now. I bet it's a mile long. Every day you check off 10 items, but somehow 12 new ones appear. At the end of the day, you're exhausted, drained, yet the list is longer than when you started. You were very busy. But the question is, were you effective? Did you actually move the needle on what's most essential in your life or career? Or were you just rearranging the deck chairs on a sinking Titanic? This obsession with busyness is what separates the amateur from the elite. The masses measure a day by the number of tasks they complete. The elite measure a day by the impact of the tasks they choose to do. They don't ask, how can I do more? They ask a different, far more powerful question. What is worth doing? Which 20% of tasks will solve 80% of the problems? And to answer that question, they don't turn to a new app or an online hack. They turn to a proven mental operating system, an OS designed not to fill time, but to leverage it with wisdom. And that is where we begin the system reinstall. The operating system of the Stoics, the OS of the elite, is not built on hacks. It is built on laws. 3 simple yet unbreakable laws that will completely reframe your definition of productivity. The first law is the law of focus. It requires a ruthless action. Divide your world into 2 columns. On one side, things you completely control. On the other, everything else. Your energy, your focus, your actions today, these you control. The economy, your boss's opinion of you, an angry email from a client, the traffic, you do not. The elite are not more talented, they are simply more ruthlessly focused. They waste 0 mental energy worrying, complaining, or trying to change things in the cannot control column. All of their power is directed at what they can influence right here, right now. This is not a life hack. This is a fundamental allocation of resources. As the philosopher Epictetus said, the chief task in life is simply this: to identify and separate matters so that I can say clearly to myself which are externals not under my control and which have to do with the choices I actually control. When you master this law, you unlock a tremendous amount of energy. But what is that energy for? This leads us to the second law, the law of purpose. Why be productive? The modern world says for a promotion, for more money, for status. The Stoic says to act with virtue. This is the biggest shift. For the Stoic, every task from writing an email to leading a nation is an arena to practice excellence, justice, courage, and discipline. When your goal is not the final outcome, but the quality of your action itself, motivation becomes an unnecessary concept. You work not because you feel like it, but because it is the right thing to do. This is the source of an internal, unshakable drive. When the philosopher Seneca was exiled by the emperor, stripped of all wealth and power, he could have despaired. Instead, he saw it as an opportunity to practice the virtue of resilience. He wrote some of his most profound works during this time. His purpose was not to be productive in exile. His purpose was to be an excellent human being, even in exile. And finally, the third law, the law of time. This is the ultimate filter of the Stoic OS, Memento Mori. Remember, you must die. It sounds pessimistic, but it is actually the most powerful tool against procrastination. When you truly internalize that your time is finite, you will stop wasting it on trivialities. Every yes to a meaningless meeting is a no to something that truly matters. Memento Mori forces you to ask the ultimate productivity question. Is this task worthy of a fraction of my limited life? This question eliminates distraction more effectively than any app. It forces you to say a definitive no to the unimportant so you can give a powerful yes to your true purpose. Of course, some might hear this and think it's an excuse for laziness. They are completely mistaken. This system requires a will of iron. Being busy is easy. Being focused is hard. Chasing external rewards is easy. Being driven by internal virtue is hard. This is not about avoiding work. This is about ensuring the work you do is worthy. These three laws sound logical. Focus, purpose, time. They are like solid pillars for an effective life. But we must face a hard truth. Knowing the blueprint and building the structure with your own hands are two very different things. There will be days when theory collapses in the face of reality, leaving you utterly frustrated. There will be moments when you know something is outside your control, yet your mind still won't stop worrying. There will be times when acting with virtue seems like a distant luxury compared to the pressure of an immediate deadline. This is not a sign of failure. This is a sign of being human. The practice of Stoicism is not a straight line upward. It is a process of stumbling and getting back up. Even Marcus Aurelius, an emperor, had to write these principles down for himself every single day, not because he forgot, but because he knew he needed the reminder. So how do we start installing this new OS? How do we turn these lofty ideas into concrete actions when our minds are in turmoil? We begin with the simplest tools, small rituals to train the mind. The first tool is the end-of-day shutdown ritual. Think of it as cleaning your desk, but for your mind. At the end of each workday, take exactly 5 minutes. Open a journal or a note on your phone. Ask yourself 3 questions based on the 3 laws we just discussed. 1. On focus. Where did I waste energy on things I couldn't control today? This identification makes you more vigilant for tomorrow. 2. On purpose. Where did I act with excellence and where did I fall short? This question calibrates your moral compass. And 3. On time. What is the one most worthy task for my time tomorrow? This question sets your priority. This 5-minute ritual will train your brain to think like a Stoic. The second tool is the 2-minute rule, Stoic edition. The modern world throws hundreds of requests at us daily. Our instinct is to react immediately. The Stoic does not. When faced with a new task or request, do not say yes instantly. Create a buffer. Pause for exactly 2 minutes. In those 2 minutes, ask, is this within my control? Does it align with my purpose? Is this a worthy use of my time? This 2-minute buffer is your shield against the tyranny of busyness. It is the moment you stop reacting instinctively and start choosing intentionally. These are not grand gestures, but it is in these small, conscious, and repeated actions that true discipline is forged. Just as an emperor, not through one great victory, but through daily discipline, built an empire, you too can build an inner citadel of your own, brick by brick. The points may sound simple, but that's the secret of the top 1%. Their mastery lies in perfecting these skills. It's a definitive choice to reject the cult of more, to escape the hamster wheel of meaningless busyness. It is the choice to operate by a different set of rules, to focus only on what you control, to act only for the right purpose, and to treasure your time as the precious, finite resource it is. This is more than productivity. This is the art of living an effective and meaningful life. This path is not easy. It demands practice, patience, and the courage to face yourself, but it is a path worth walking. So, here is my challenge to you. Tomorrow, I don't want you to try to do more. I want you to try to do less. Look at your schedule. Pick one unimportant task or meeting, something you know is just filling time, and cancel it decisively. Use that reclaimed time to do the one thing that truly matters, the one you've been putting off. That is the first step to becoming elite. And finally, I leave you with a question to ponder. If you could only be productive at one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be, and why? Think carefully about that question. Share your answer in the comments. Let's see what truly matters. Thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next video.